Farm4Profit podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit podcast.
David Whitaker with Farm4Profit podcast. I'm here with Jamie. Jamie, who are you and where are you from?
Yeah, thanks Dave for having me. I'm Jamie Duininck. I am the CEO of Prinsco, and Prinsco is a manufacturing company. We manufacture plastic pipe, high-density polyethylene and polypropylene pipe. Our headquarters is Wilmer, Minnesota. We got 9 manufacturing plants, and we're kind of talking about the manufacturing side of agricultural water management today.
And so, having been a podcast host now for 6 years and 400 plus episodes, one of the things that we always get a lot of traffic on is tile.
Sure.
And so, of course, our podcast is Farm4Profit. We want to be profitable, and that's tough in this economy. Boy, corn prices are down. They took a haircut today. I mean, it's a discount today on corn. But all that being said, the overwhelming response from all of our listeners is two ways. One is tile, and one has been grain bins. So you're in the right business for farmers to help make money. Have you seen that? Like, what's a case over the years? You've been with Prinsco for a while. Have you seen people make more money?
Oh, for sure. And yeah, actually, I've been with Prinsco for 27 years, so it's been a long time for me. Obviously, there are some years that are better than other years, but for the most part, because of what we do and because of what water management does, it is something that's pretty steady throughout the years, even when agriculture is a little bit down like it is now.
Yeah.
But we're seeing, and I think part of that's because water management, it's under the ground, it's been misunderstood. I started a podcast myself 4 years ago, The Water Table, really to educate on that. And when you go to Iowa or Illinois, drainage and water management has been a right. You get to western Minnesota, to the Dakotas, to other areas where it hasn't been around for 100 years, and we're still learning. But every year, every decade, there's more and more understanding.
I think Nebraska and Center Pivots, they want water. They need to manage that, head out to Colorado, and we sell the water management rights separate from what we do in Iowa or the Midwest or Minnesota. So you're right on the money. It's a little bit of an education of what it does. And being my second year of farming this year, of row crop farming, all the guys have recommended we put tile in somewhere. Again, I don't know all the ebbs and flows of where the water is going to go, how it works, but I'm told that I'll get more bushels per acre because we don't want wet feet on the crops. So we want to make sure that a guy had an analogy yesterday. We can make a cherry pie, but there's 7 ingredients to a cherry pie, and if we don't have all those ingredients right and we take one away, like water, too much or too little, guess what? Our pie doesn't turn out too good. So with all that being said, we know tile works. So you're Prinsco, 26 years now, CEO, you said.
Yes.
What makes, here's our elevator, we're going to press the button. What's the elevator pitch for Prinsco? Why Prinsco? We're at Commodity Classic here. Let me back up. What is there, 400 plus vendors here? Everybody's trying to sell me a product. What makes your product better than everybody else's?
Well, what I'd say is our company values, our relationships, hard work, integrity, and humility.
So nothing about the product.
I'm not
Everything about the company.
Not yet, but when you talk about the company and you talk about the company values, you can't build a good product unless you have those
100%.
values.
100%.
So that's why I start with them.
So I saw in your brochure that humility was one of the core values on your deal. Expand on that. Tell me more.
It's interesting. You didn't ask me that before we got here today, and that would be the one that you should have asked me, because the other ones, we decided that over the years, sitting in the boardroom talking about what is it that we are. But humility was, I was in the airport traveling to a conference with several of our employees, and there was 4 of them walking in front of me. And they are all 4 have really done a great job at our company and had a lot of impact. And when I looked at those 4, I thought, what makes them tick? What makes them where I feel really good about them? And I think they've been so successful at Prinsco. And it was that they all come to work every day with a humble confidence. They aren't arrogant, but they are confident.
Well, that's definitely, agriculture is relationship first business. Not product first business, relationship first. I'm in the auction business, and it is 100%, can I trust this person? Can I go to that person? Well, I don't even have to ask, can that guy sell my farm? It's, I know they're gonna do the best job. So from my business to yours, I appreciate that. I have never seen humility as a core value. So that's blown away. I love it. So as you think of like your customer base, of who you affect, I see more and more farmers that are buying farmland through my company that might be investor types, and maybe they have somebody else, they're looking maybe even for the tax write-off. Tell me more on that. Give me more on who's using your product.
Yeah, it's, a lot of our product that's being used in the agricultural space is contractors. That's what we're selling to, but we are selling to farmers.
You're talking tile contractors, agricultural.
Yep. It's tile contractors. Farmers are buying their own, but the end user, the customer, more and more all the time is an investor. It's someone that's obviously we're selling to big family farms, to guys that are new in farming like you, but I'd say, I guess I don't know if I want to share a percentage, but it's significant on the amount of investors that are buying land, and the first thing the investor is going to do is tile it.
Well, and I can share with that 80 to 20. So 80% is still local farmers in my area, and about 20%, but we got to preface who's the investor. I have a lot of large family farms, 5 or 6 generations, multiple husband and wife, brothers and sisters. Are they a farmer or are they an investor? Yeah. They want to expand because it takes more acres to feed the family. So some folks ask, well, what percent is investors? Well, it's really relative of what you consider that investor. So I'll let the audience be the judge on that one. Let's go back to the basics of tile. So I have a farm, it's wet when it rains. I have very gumbo soils. Okay. One thing I know with selling farmland all across the state of Iowa and the Midwest is every farm is unique. There's different soils. Even half of my farm is one soil, the other half is another soil. So then mine holds water. Some don't. I also have a place on Sand Hill Trail. It does not hold water at all. So those people put in tile. When they put in tile, what's it do? How's it work? What's tile do for the novice person that doesn't know anything about tile?
Yeah, so tile, there's many things that'll do, but one of the things that farmers really like right now is, as equipment gets bigger and as farms get bigger, the ability to go into a field and plant at once. And what happens if you don't have a uniform tile system across the field is you're going to get those wet spots. And years ago when I started in the business, so I'm not talking 100 years ago, I'm talking 20 years ago even, there was a lot of random tiling being done. They didn't go out and say, let's pattern tile this 40 or this 80 or this quarter. They wanted to tile the wet spots. Well, all that happened was they tiled that wet spots, and the next year it was over here, and the next year it was over here.
I see.
So they started then looking at it from the standpoint of how do we get a uniform field that these plants can grow, the roots can grow deeper, and we have so much better of a plant stand when fall comes, but it gives you the opportunity to go in and plant once and not have to come back.
So we're not just saving money, timing. Timing is oh so important. The more acres we go over, just being able to access that field when we're in that location, and so much that Garth Brooks song, if your paycheck's dependent on the weather and the clock, we're going to try to control some of that, is that if we can control the weather, then at least the drainage of the water so we can get in that field faster. Yeah,
and when you think about it with tile, part of the reason why you're getting a better yield is you're getting into the field earlier.
Yep.
So you're getting that, if you're getting in, if it's a wet spring, you're in Minnesota, you plant after May 10, you're going to lose a bushel a day.
Yep.
So if you can get it in May 1st, you're gonna gain a bunch of bushels compared to if it's May 25, which several of the last, I would say probably 7 of the last 10 years in Minnesota, we've struggled in the spring with having cold, wet springs.
Yeah, get a longer maturity corn. Of course, we're all hoping for more yield on that, but I like the timing aspect of it and getting in the field. We were just talking agronomy at this conference here at Commodity, and every agronomist said if the seed doesn't come up uniform, and it's not uniform when it comes up, then what is the seed that came up 4 days later? It's a weed. And so it's hurting the seed that you already planted. So when you're talking uneven spots in the field, we moved water from here to there to everywhere, now we're creating even more weeds. So now I'm gonna go back to the word you said earlier, pattern tile. For our listeners, there's lots of people that put tile in the ground. If they don't know what tile is, help explain what is pattern tile.
Yeah, pattern tile would be where you have a system, and a lot of times these days in a lot of markets it's 40 feet, where you're putting the tile every 40 feet across the field. You have a main line that collects every one of those 40-foot laterals, anywhere from 3 to 5 inch. A lot of 3-inch and 4-inch are being used as those lateral pipes, and it collects in a main. In the main, its size is dependent upon your grade and how much land you're tiling. So
Gotcha.
It collects it, and then it goes to an outlet. Some places, if there isn't a good outlet, you have a pump, a lift pump, but typically there's enough fall on a field that you'll have an outlet.
So you just mentioned 40 foot. How'd you come up with 40 foot? I see you got this like crazy slide rule. We're going back to the 1960s here.
Yeah.
How do we know? Is there like some efficiency or number? Like how do I know 40 feet versus 80 feet versus, like where did we come up with that?
Yeah, so you get a drainage coefficient. We're going to talk about 3/8 drainage coefficient here for a minute, because that's a very typical one. What that means is you can drain 3/8 of an inch of rain off from that field each day.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm hoping the tile contractor knows what all that business is. That's over my head. I just know I need it. So let's talk about what is the benefit of tile. We talked about one thing already, time management. We talked about getting in the field faster. Is there like a number that's out there that, hey, I'm gonna get this many bushel per acre better, average? I mean, you've been in business for 26 years. I'm sure you've been asked this question sometime. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, and I can't give you an exact number because there's so many variables.
Okay.
Most fields today have some tile in it, a random line over here, a random line
Fair enough.
over there. The latest stuff I've read is that if there is no tile in a field and you're gonna tile it and manage the water, you're gonna see a 30 bushel an acre increase.
Holy smokes, okay.
Now that can be debated, but that's what I have read pretty recently from some studies. But when you have some tile, that can change. Obviously, a year changes that too. You know, there's sometimes where we've had people tell us that they know that they paid for that system in 1 year because it was so wet that year.
Very well. I'm hoping I can pay mine off in 1 year. Let's talk about the company for a second, just more Prinsco style. So you said your company is based off of, in our elevator pitch, that it's all family values and it's about the people. There's got to be a difference in product. There's 5, 6, 7 different manufacturers out there. We're all making probably a polyword. I don't know what it is yet, but right. A polyword something that is tile. Some is sleeve, some is jacketed, some's bigger, some's smooth on the inside. Some's from recycled, I think, right?
Correct, yep.
And some is maybe from like a brand new substrate, if that's the word, polymer that you're going to put together. What's the process to build the pipe?
Sure, that's a good question. Dave, we look at first when we're talking about high density polyethylene pipe, or HD.
I knew it was a poly word.
Yeah, you're right, HDPE.
Okay.
More recently, the industry is also making a polypropylene pipe, but that isn't used as much in agriculture. There are some uses in mains,
gotcha.
But more in storm sewer. But the HDPE pipe, we manufacture 3-inch to 60-inch pipe.
Holy smokes.
Not every inch, but that's the diameters that we serve.
Okay.
When it gets to 18-inch, we make just dual wall, or the smooth interior. 3-inch to 15-inch, we make single wall and dual wall on those sides.
And most my ag guys are going to be 6-inch, 8-inch, maybe up to 15-inch mains if they're moving a lot of water off the field. Does your company help them make the plan of like, or is that all the tile contractor of like what size it goes out?
That's typically the tile contractor.
That's the tile contractor. So when I'm talking to my tile contractor, should I be asking them, do you use XYZ pipe? And what questions should I ask my tile contractor?
Yeah, I would ask the tile contractors when they give you a plan to explain it to you.
Okay.
Why? Because there is a lot of apples to oranges in plans, and you can look at a plan and it can change a lot in the price to you depending on the main size.
Okay.
Mains are expensive, but sometimes they're absolutely required. You don't want to, if you're really looking at saving money, the place the contractor often will look at is undersizing a main.
Okay.
And you don't want to do that. Why would you do that if you're going to spend
get one
the
time
money?
to do it right, and always
right.
10 times do it over again. Yep,
That's right.
I understood. So I see a lot of guys make a plan, maybe put the main in. They might have the big tile machine rather than a plow, and then a lot of the farmers might have the plow and put in some of the tributaries to it. But I know the contractor I'm going to work with is going to do the entire job. Hopefully he can get it all done and go with that. All that being said, what are we missing? We talked what it's made out of. We've talked about the values of the company and where you guys are out of. What states do you cover again? Do you cover all across the U.S.?
Yeah. Well, not the entire U.S., but we're probably in 35 states, I'm guessing now. We have a plant in the southeast in Georgia. We have 2 plants on the west coast, and then several in the Midwest. And what we say about covering the agricultural Midwest is we kind of have that drainage from Montana to Michigan and down to Missouri and everything in between.
Yeah, I don't think Texas needs a whole lot of tile, probably.
And there are pockets, where we sell stuff of agriculture and in almost in all states. But for the most part, we're the intensely high productive agriculture is.
Gotcha. Well, we know tile works, and we know Prinsco has good family values and good people to work with, and that's the kind of company we want to work with. What did we miss? Is there anything else?
We had a great conversation. Number one, thank you for that. We did miss that. I think we were talking about our values, and one of them is relationships. Yeah. And you talked about how that's been really important to you and in your business and growing your business as an auctioneer. And the interesting thing, as we met today,
I did not know until the name rang the bell, because it's Flatabo Duininck and it's Duininck, and your wife is a world champion auctioneer as well.
Yeah, but the reason I said that wasn't to really give her kudos, even though I should.
You totally should.
But
she's the most genuine person you've ever met in your entire life.
But the reason I said that was how important relationships are. Agriculture is a really small business when you get into it. And we didn't know each other.
Here we are.
We did know each other.
And we're not even in the same state. We traveled here we are at Commodity Classic in Denver, and we meet, and it's been great. Well, I'm glad that Farm4Profit starting a relationship with Prinsco. It's been great talking with you.
Look forward to more.